everybody. I'm Alyssa from Meditative Astrology, and I'm here to talk with you about the astrology of March 16th through 22nd. We have a few exact aspects that we're going to talk about this week. Before we do, I want to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe so that way you don't miss any of our videos, as well as our live astrological meditations on Sunday nights on YouTube. So we start out this week on Sunday, March 16th, with the moon in the sign of Libra, and we start out with a bang this week. We start out with Mercury beginning its retrograde period in the sign of Aries. It's going to join Venus as the two planets that are retrograding through the sign of Aries and back into Pisces together. Mercury is going to be retrograde until April 9th. It's going to make its way back to 26 degrees of Pisces. So anything that you have between 9 degrees of Aries, you could bring that up a few degrees to 12 degrees. And then anything you have back through 26 degrees of Pisces, or if you give yourself a 3-degree orb, you could go down to 23 degrees of Pisces. Those planets are going to get conjunctions from Mercury as it's making its retrograde path. So when we have Mercury retrograde, there is the revisiting, the reworking, the reorganizing, and the rethinking of things. There is an additional changeability coming in with Mercury going to retrograde, not only because Mercury always brings that within its retrograde, but we have another personal planet that is retrograde, Venus. So there is shifts within not only our Venusian themes, but also within our Mercurial themes. So the way we think about things, the way we communicate, the way we process things. There is a revision that is happening here. Very much can be related to Venusian themes, the desires and our relationships, how we find balance and harmony, since these two planets are going to be retrograding pretty close together as they make their path here for a while. There is a reformatting of the Aries house with both of these planets being retrograde, and it's another way where Pisces and Aries houses within our chart and their own energies are being weaved together. We have many planets that are moving across the Pisces and Aries axis here in the next little while. So we have a tying together and an amplifying of these two houses and these two energies, Aries and Pisces. So look at where they are within your own chart if you don't already know, and contemplate on the topics of those houses. See how those things are playing out within your lives and how you see a shifting and how you see a changing within that. Across Pisces and Aries, there is themes of faith and action. There is a reflective energy and a reactive energy. There is an energy of a culmination and all things coming together, as well as an energy of things initiating, going out on its own and striking its own path and starting things. So we have a finishing, we have a starting. We have the light half of the year, we have the dark half of the year. So there's this tying together of these different aspects and these different houses within our own chart here as the retrograde is happening. So watch these two planets as they are moving together. That Libra moon that we have on Sunday is going to take us right into Monday, March 17th. That Libra moon finishes out early in the morning on Monday. The moon will move into the sign of Scorpio around 2:30 a.m. Eastern time. So really we have the moon in the sign of Scorpio most of Monday, and it will make a square to Pluto early that morning as well. We have an exact aspect going on this day as well. The sun is going to make a conjunction to the North Node as it finishes its last couple days in the sign of Pisces. When the sun conjoins the North Node, both the sun and the point of the North Node, both the sun and the North Node within astrology have a sense of amplifying or illuminating or strengthening whatever they come into contact with. So there's this way in which the sun is amplifying the North Node is amplifying the sun through this conjunction. That together brings an amplification and a pull towards the Piscean topics once again within our lives, and an amplification of the eclipse energy, since the nodes are the points that give us our eclipses. The North Node is something that pulls us towards it. Within the sun, there's the illumination. So there is this pull or this illumination towards moving forward, towards completing something, towards wanting to know the next step, wanting to go the next path. There is an amplification of solar qualities as well, so wanting to move towards an understanding, questioning and wondering of the path. I could see existential questions coming up here of like, why am I here? What is my purpose? Where am I supposed to be going? We could really be asking ourselves these questions early on this week, and that kind of pairs with the Mercury retrograde, where our mind and our thoughts and the way we process things are shifting and changing a little bit. Now we have this drive to want to move forward, to want to move on to the next step, and to feel in a way, I'm wondering how that feels exhilarating and how that lights us up and motivates us to keep going, moves us towards wanting to feel fulfilled, wanting us to feel like we understand what lights us up and we have access to that, wanting to have more understanding of where to go from here. So as the sun comes into conjunction with the North Node, it can really be a pulling energy to move forward, however that is showing up for you. And that brings us into Tuesday, March 18th. We don't have any exact aspects here. The moon is going to be in the sign of Scorpio, so really just following the moon through the sign of Scorpio on Tuesday. That Scorpio moon is going to take us right into Wednesday, March 19th. Where we will have the moon in the sign of Scorpio until it moves into Sagittarius in the afternoon, just after 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we have an aspect going on this day as well. So as the sun moves off of its conjunction with the North Node, it's instantly going to move into a conjunction with Neptune. This amplifies some of what we are seeing with Sun and North Node, or makes it a bit, or has it be a bit of a continuation, because it's still this very strong Piscean type energy of moving forward with a deepening or a further understanding of the path and what we have going on here. When I see the Sun and Neptune coming together, especially at the very end degrees of Pisces, the end degrees of a water sign here, I am wondering how we are going to think about the ways that we tend to our own soul. The ways that we tend to our own path, and maybe the ways that we even care for ourselves and care for others. There is maybe a pull to care for our soul and to wonder how we can fill ourselves up to be able to continue this path moving forward, which the sun coming into conjunction with the North Node will inspire and amplify, and then it comes into a conjunction with Neptune. So there's this deepening understanding, there's this intuitive connection of connecting with whatever the path is for you, connecting to a higher energy. That can be connecting to your own higher self, that can be connecting to the universe, God, or another term that works well for you. So it's a deeply connecting energy, and when you feel deeply, when there is some sort of deep connection, then there is, hopefully some sort of understanding that comes along with that to allow you to move forward. So the energy coming through here continues to be very inspiring and very, very connecting. Of course, as the sun comes into conjunction with Neptune, whatever we are reaching into, if it's not something that is super positive for us, then we may be finding our way into a space that we are intoxicated by something that maybe isn't so great for us. And then we're looking for that, maybe looking for that deep soul connection, hopefully in a good, positive place. So that way we are putting ourselves into a space of bringing in energy that will benefit us long term, rather than be more of a escapism type energy of wanting to move away from whatever is around us here. So that Sagittarius moon that comes through Wednesday afternoon is going to take us right into Thursday. It's going to make an opposition with Jupiter, and this is also the day that we have the sun move into the sign of Aries. We have the Spring Equinox coming through here this day. This is where the sun shifts from the dark half of the year into the light half of the year, and it's a restart of the zodiac. The sign of Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so we have the restarting and the reinitiating of the process through the zodiacal wheel, and really a retelling of the story of the sun as it moves through its solar year, and the process of birth and experience and death that it goes through. This is a symbolic moment of rebirth, of starting, of initiating. It's the return of the light. Like I said, we are moving from the dark half of the year into the light half of the year. And it shifts a little bit of the focus from the sign of Pisces into the sign of Aries. Still having lots of shifting back and forth between Pisces and Aries. But as the sun moves into the sign of Aries, it shifts the energy a little bit more towards the Aries part of our chart. That is until the planets end up retrograding back into the sign of Pisces. So this is a great time to set intentions of where you want to go from here, as well as starting the movement as that light returns. So setting the plans, putting them into action, and birthing something new as this symbolic moment comes through, restarting the zodiac wheel here. That Sagittarius moon is going to take us right into Friday, where we are going to be seeing Venus making a sextile to Pluto. So where the beginning of this week felt very inspiring and very moving forward, Venus and Pluto can be inspiring and moving forward, but it feels like a little bit different. It has a little bit of a different feel to it. When Venus makes a sextile to Pluto, it may not be the loudest aspect that we have going on. It's a sextile. It's not, they tend to be a little bit more subtle, where maybe you kind of notice it possibly in the process, or you notice it a little bit afterwards, or it could just be where two things work together cohesively. So they just come together in a nice, pleasant way. When Venus comes into contact with Pluto of any kind, you have this moment of union with Venus coming in. You have this moment of union between Venus and the underworld, with the darkness, things that are unseen, things that are hidden, things that are avoided, things that are unspoken. So they could be things that we are avoiding, but it also could be things that we just aren't able to see yet. So with Venus coming into contact with Pluto, it could be that we start to see things that we haven't seen before. It can be a moment of reaching into the darkness to find some sort of understanding, or to dig deeper into something in order to be able to utilize it better. It's a moment of searching for deeper ideas, deeper meaning, and deeper understanding. There's an ability to work with the darkness or work with the shadow. So be able to work with what we've been avoiding or what we haven't been able to see, but now we are able to see it. Maybe if it's something that we've been avoiding, then maybe we find a pathway to be able to reconcile with that energy. There is a passion that comes through anytime we have an aspect with Pluto, and with Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, I'm wondering about being pulled towards having a passion for the process. So Pluto likes to dig deep, it likes to uncover things, it likes to find the details that maybe weren't there before. Like I said, things that were unseen become seen now. So I'm wondering if, with Venus being the planet that brings desire, brings balance, harmony, right now she's trying to find her own individuation as she's retrograding through the sign of Aries. I am wondering if there is an amplified desire to dig a little bit deeper. What have I missed here as I've been shifting things? What have I not been looking at? Where have I not been giving my attention to? And then you can bring those things up from the metaphorical underworld and bring them into the conscious sphere. If you have been collecting things and bringing them in throughout this process of Venus retrograde here as it started, then I'm wondering about how we can start to shift with that energy. The underworld is a collection of energy within its own right. So it's a collection of life through death. So the underworld being the place where souls go once they've passed on, moving into that path of judgment. If you buy into that, but the underworld also has to deal with the dream space. So it's a collection of consciousness as well as a collection of life. So if we've been collecting things through the underworld and kind of keeping them tucked away, wondering how we can start to utilize those things now, wondering about the unspoken hidden things coming into light where they are free to move. And as Venus is moving backwards and as she is shifting, she's going to come through this moment here at the end of the week where she just really wants to dig down, and she's passionate about trying to find something useful there. So wondering where you see progress that maybe either is something you weren't quite expecting, or it's something that was difficult for you to obtain before. And now you have the little bit of this cohesion between these two planets coming through Friday. When you have this release of underworld type energy or thoughts, there may be able to be something that we were missing before, something that we didn't quite have in our toolbox. And now that we have that, now that it has made its way into the light, maybe there's able to reconcile some sort of differences, whether that's between you and another person, or you and some sort of process or an endeavor, or wherever things are showing up for you. So that's what we have coming through Friday. Moving into Saturday, March 22nd, we start out with the moon in the sign of Sagittarius before it moves into Capricorn early morning Eastern time, 2:30 a.m. Eastern time. We have several aspects that we can see here that the moon makes, but we also have Venus coming into contact with the sun on this day as well. This comes through in the evening. 8:05 p.m. Eastern time is the moment of the Venus Cazimi as she moves across a conjunction with the sun. This is a resetting moment for Venus through the retrograde process. This is an empowering moment and a shifting of phasal energy as she moves from the evening star position, where she is rising after the sun, and shifting to a point where she is moving into the morning star phase, where she will rise before the sun, where you will see her before the sun rises in the morning when she makes her appearance and moves far enough away from the sun. So where we have been working to shift and change through this Venus retrograde, we are having this moment of a fresh start and being able to start anew. There's a process. This allows us to start fresh and have a new breath within the process of individuation and fresh energy related to Venusian things. Both the Venus Cazimi and the equinox both are rebirth symbolism. So through this week, we have a couple big moments where we are able to shift our energy, have a fresh breath of air, and start a little bit different process. Maybe it's starting something completely new. Maybe it's just kind of shifting the energy and shifting the process just a little bit here. But we have this shifting and rebirthing coming through here this week. So take this energy, take the words that I've said, take these aspects and contemplate on how it is shifting within your own life. And then join us Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, and then we will have our astrological meditation where we will further elaborate and look at a very specific aspect of the astrology for the week. So lots of tools here for you to prepare for this week that there is shifting, and I will see you back here next week for the following video. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week.